good night. And that's not a salutation to leave, that's a welcome. Tonight I'm going to be doing a second trial of trying to make Dragon Ball Z Perfect Cell a good game, or a better game, because like I've mentioned before, I think there is a good game in here. So if you didn't watch my last video, I tried a couple different things to make this a more interesting game, because one of the biggest complaints that people have about it is that it is too easy. Now, for those of you who don't know, Dragon Ball Z Perfect Cell Dice Game is a game published by IDW Games, which is now out of, I don't know, I don't think they're out of business, but they closed their doors. And this game has been, was published in 2017, so it's been around for a while. It's not too hard to get. If you want, you can look on eBay or other second-party sellers. You can get it for about 30, 40 bucks, maybe less for somebody anxious to get rid of it. It's more of a collector's piece than it is a decent game to actually have. It's got some pretty good quality to it. The board doesn't look too bad. It's kind of an ugly shade of green, but it serves its function. It's got Cell's life track right here. It's got a damage track right here used to keep track of how much damage you're doing to him. It's got a pretty standard picture of Cell right here. It's got a dragon radar right here, which serves a function that I'm gonna explain here in a second. It's got a track right here that you use to keep track of his threats. You got the special ability cards right here, which are a unique shape that go at the bottom of the player cards. All the player cards have unique art on them of all the characters, and it's got little unique pictograms for everybody. You got Krillin and Trunks and Piccolo here. That's who we're using. It's got the kanji for their names and all that stuff. So, you know, Cell's threat cards come in the shape of scouter lenses, which I think is pretty cool. So it's not a badly designed game. I think it's got all the elements that it needs to be a good game. I think they're just mismatched in a very weird way. So how the game normally plays is it's a co-op game, and all the players are trying to deal 70 damage to Cell using action dice before the threat deck runs out, or before all the players die. All the players have health values in the upper right-hand corner of their player cards. And they range from 5 to 7. Trunks has the most with 7. He's the only one with 7. And Goku has 5. He's the only one with 5. Why Goku has 5, I don't know. Everybody else has 6. And how a round goes is, at the beginning of each round, Cell gets dealt a number of threat cards equal to the number of players. And then the players get to look at these threat cards, and each threat card has an effect on it that's either going to be passive, which affects the entire round, or it has an active effect which will take place at the end of the round. And it also has these symbols on it which correspond to the dice faces. And during the round, after Cell's threat cards are dealt, the players in turn order are going to roll their dice, and they're going to assign their dice to certain effects, including the threat cards. There are 4 results on the dice, there is a punch symbol which can be placed on the damage track to deal 1 damage to cell. Or it can be placed to a corresponding symbol on the on a threat card to further the progress in getting rid of that threat card. The I call it the Kamehameha symbol. It's 2 hands doing this, and they call it a super attack symbol, I think, in the rules. That can be placed on the damage track to do 2 damage to cell, or again, it can be placed to progress the getting rid of a threat card on one of cell's threats, active threats. The assist dice, which is an open palm, has a couple different functions. It can be used to buy special upgrades, their costs listed right here, or it can be used to heal 1 damage that has been dealt to you, or you can pass it to another player for them to roll on their turn. Or again, it can be used to place on a threat card to progress getting rid of that threat card. The Dragon Ball dice, which is a symbol of a hand holding a Dragon Ball, can be used, has a couple different functions as well. It can be used normally. Now I have this set up a little differently for my variant, but it can be used normally to place on the dragon track to progress to getting all the Dragon Balls. Once this track is full, all the players will get healed, and all the players will get revived if there's any that are dead. Now, I think this is a misprint in the rule book because it conflicts with what is saying on the player aids. On the player aids, it says place all 7 Dragon Ball results on the Dragon Ball meter to heal all Z fighters to full HP or revive one fallen Z fighter. So I don't know which one is true, and it doesn't clarify. The other function of a Dragon Ball dice is you can get one of these Dragon Ball tokens. Now, normally, there's a whole pool of them, and on the other side, there's 3 different results. There's the punch result, the super attack result, the Kamehameha, or there's a Shenlong result, which acts as a wild, and you can hold on to these tokens to fulfill whatever result you need them for. And the last result function you can use the Dragon Ball dice is like the assist. You can use it to heal a single point of damage. And that's what the dice do. Now, another thing you can do with the dice is you can sacrifice a dice. If you don't like your roll, you can sacrifice a dice to re-roll the rest of the dice that you have. Okay. Now, after all the players have gone and rolled all their dice and assigned them, you will check all of Cell's threat cards. Any of them that have had all the dice results on them filled will get removed from the threat track. And any that are remaining will have their effects take place. So if there's one that remains that deals damage, it'll deal damage. If there's one left that heals Cell, it'll heal them, and so on and so forth. Now, the reason that this game is so easy is because it's very easy to manage the threat cards and to deal damage to Cell. So Cell pretty much does nothing. So the way to kind of cure that is to try and figure out a way so that Cell is able to do something and to divide player attention between dealing damage and dealing with these cards. Now, the first thing that I tried was to just add additional cards to the threat. I tried player +1, but what ended up happening was that was too much in my opinion. Now, your mileage may vary if you're trying this game, but what I found was happening was that I was devoting too much of my dice to the threats and not being able to deal any damage to Cell. And I was losing the game all the time. Now, the official rulebook says in order to make the game harder is you just remove cards from this, because if you have to draw cards from this and you can't, you'll lose the game, because this acts as kind of a timer. So basically it's defeat Cell before this runs out. So their solution is to shorten the timer, but that doesn't really work either, because like I said, it's super easy to be able to just kick the crap out of Cell and deal with his threat so he's not doing nothing. Plus you can spend a couple turns not really worrying about the damage that he's gonna do. Another thing that I found out that was happening was the Dragon Ball radar. You didn't need to use it. Sacrificing Dragon Ball dice and putting them here, it locks them for the rest of the game, because you needed to sacrifice dice in order to get them back, and nobody ever really needed to heal from it, because nobody was taking any damage because you were able to deal with the threats. So this was a completely useless piece of game mechanic. It just wasn't getting used. So tonight what we're going to do is we're going to play the game, but I've made a couple modifications in how the game plays. Now, some of them I used the other night, or last night, in how I do things. So the first thing that we do is we've changed the function of the Dragon Ball result. Now, the Dragon Ball result, normally, as we discussed, you put it on this track, or it can heal, or it can get you a token. So what we've done is we removed the healing ability of the Dragon Ball. Second, we've altered the token gaining ability of this. So instead of having a big giant pool of tokens that you can choose from, there's only 7 available. So what we've done is we've limited the token resource. So there's 7 Dragon Balls that you can choose from, basically. Next, what we've done is we've added a reroll option. So instead of sacrificing a dice to reroll your results, you can only reroll if you sacrifice a Dragon Ball result. We've assigned the reroll function to the Dragon Ball result. So that's what we've done with that. The rest of the dice operate exactly as they're supposed to. Okay, the next thing that we've done is we've changed the Cell's threat deck a little bit. We've taken out 3 of his threat cards. Now, the cards that we removed are the ones that say certain results cannot be re-rolled or passed, because I have found that these cards are pretty much useless. Okay, the fists, the super damage, and the Dragon Ball results, it says that those results cannot be re-rolled or passed. Nobody passes those, nobody re-rolls those. The only character that can pass those results is Goku. So if you're not playing with Goku, these cards are absolutely worthless. And there's only very specific instances, like using in our case, using the Dragon Ball thing, where you can re-roll those dice. Or there's a special ability called mimicry, which allows you to re-roll dice anyway. So these results, or these passive effects from Cell, aren't really that intimidating. These are waste of time, except in very specific circumstances. Nobody's going to assign dice to them. They can stay on the threat track and be ignored. So we're going to take these out, which also does what the book suggests to make the game more difficult, is it shortens the timer by 3 cards. So in the box those go. The next thing we're going to do with Cell's threat deck is the first card we draw in his threat lineup is we're going to automatically resolve it. So if it does damage, we're automatically going to deal damage. If it heals, it's going to heal Cell. If it's a passive one, well, we're going to say, I haven't really figured out if it's good to ignore that or not. I've been ignoring it in my little playthroughs, so that's how we're going to deal with it. And we'll go from there. So that's how we're going to play it tonight. So with that being said, let's get started. The 3 characters that we're using are Piccolo, Trunks, and Krillin. Those are the 3 characters that we've been playing with. Piccolo's special ability is may change the face of 1 die per turn. Now, that wording of his ability is a little ambiguous. We're not sure if that means his turn or every other character's turn. So we're assuming that it means his turn, but it very well could mean that he can change the die face of other characters' dice. I'm not sure. This game is kind of ambiguous in that. Trunks' special ability is once per game he can discard an incomplete Cell card. So any threat card that's on here that is incomplete, he can just once per game just burn it. Krillin's special ability is he can buy special abilities at discount and give them to another character if he would like to. So let's go ahead and kick the tires and light the fires. First thing, heal. Heal 5 damage. All right, well, he's already at max, so he doesn't need to heal. After Image Strike, power-up cards cannot be bought, so no upgrades for anybody. And then another Regenerate. So Cell has the potential right now to undo a lot of damage that we could do. So Piccolo is going to go first. And we have 3 super attacks, 1 assist, and 1 punch attack. So none of the upgrades, well, we can't buy upgrades anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the assist, we're going to pass it to Trunks, and I think we're just going to, actually no we're not. We're going to throw it on this Regenerate. We're going to take, so this Regenerate right here, you'll notice that it has question marks. That means it can be any die, but all these die slots are also linked by a line, which means whatever die is first placed on here, all these results have to be the same. So we have to be a little careful with that. So Piccolo is going to start it, and he's going to choose to be a puncher. So that means that all the die results on this particular threat card have to be punches. And that one. And then he's going to beat up Cell. So he's going to start the damage track. So how the damage works in this game is you put damage dice inside these slots here. And these numbers right here indicate how many slots it takes to fill a row with that number of players. So if we were only playing with 1 player, we would stop there and move on to the next one. 2 players and 3 players. So technically we're playing a 3-player game. And then that tells you how much bonus damage you would get by filling the row. So right now we hit him with a super attack, which normally does 2 damage. 1, 2. And then another super attack, which does another 2 damage. 1, 2. But I also filled the row, which does an additional damage. So 1. Right. And that's Piccolo's turn. So now we go to Trunks. Trunks is going to throw 1 punch there, One punch there. I'm going to throw an assist here. Actually, you know what? We're going to throw both assists there just so it gets out of the way. And then he's going to attack Cell here for 2 damage. 1, 2. All right. Come on, Krillin. What's Krillin got? Krillin ain't helping. I should have used Piccolo's ability to get a Dragon Ball. Oh well. Alright, Krillin's got a lot of assists, which would normally be very, very helpful to buy abilities, but since Cell is preventing us from doing that, we will not be able to do that. So instead, we're just going to do a bunch of damage. Assists cannot help us do that. So we're going to take the assists. We're going to put this last fist on this heal right here. We're going to take these 3 assists, pass them over to Piccolo, and we're going to deal 2 damage with this attack. 1, 2. Okay. So all the players have done their deed. Now we go to Cell's turn. We'll start from the top and go down. So this one has been completed. So it'll go into the discard. This one has been completed. So it'll go in the discard. This one has not been completed, so the dice will stay on it and its effect will take place. Cell will heal 7 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and then these dice will come back off. And that is it. So now we start a new round. Cell is immune to damage bonuses. So all this bonus damage right here won't affect him. And it's a passive one. This is the first one we drew, and it's passive. Like I said, I still kind of up in the air whether I should let passives be no effect for the round. We'll think on that a little more as we continue in the game. So the second one is going to be a rapid fire, and then the third one is the Solar Kamehameha, which will deal 3 damage. Okay, so Piccolo's first. So luckily, we are now able to buy our abilities if we want. We're going to use Krillin's Dragon Ball to finish out that heal. And I think we're going to use our other Dragon Ball. No. We need to get rid of the Solar Kamehameha. This is going to really hurt Krillin, but we're going to do it. We're going to throw these dice. Now, these dice are all mystery dice as well, but they're not connected with a line, so they can be any dice I would like. And this round is not going to be doing too much damage to Cell. We're just going to throw a bunch of dice on. So we're going to actually sacrifice this Dragon Ball result right here, and we're actually going to get a token. And it's going to be a fist. We're just going to hold on to it. And then that dice is done. Okay, Trunks' turn. Trunks got some fists and an assist. Well, might as well fist here. We'll throw this assist over to, you know what? We're actually going to sack the fist and get Super Saiyan form for Trunks. That's canon. And then we'll get a fist on Solar Flare, and then a fist over here on that. Okay, and then this will come here. Krillin on his turn. Whoops, this gets filled up at the end of his turn. So Krillin rolls a Dragon Ball and a thing. So with that, we can go ahead and put a Dragon Ball here because that's what's needed, and throw the last die here. So we didn't do any damage that turn, but that's okay. So starting from the bottom, this has been completed, and all the dice will return to their players. Rapid Fire was completed. Solar Flare was completed. And the last Regenerate was completed, which leaves Cell with no threats. So that round was a stalemate. All right, let's see what happens this round. All right, so Ki Blast Cannon. He does 1 damage to each player. 1, 1, 1. Death Saucer. That'll deal 2 damage. And then Kamehameha will deal 2 damage. Okay. Piccolo. Piccolo, Piccolo, Piccolo. I think Piccolo wants to... See, this is... Krillin should have gone first. Because with Piccolo... with Krillin, he can buy abilities first and set everybody up for the turn. But that's okay, because the first thing we're going to do is Piccolo's going to just block the Death Saucer outright. Then he's going to change this Dragon Ball you know what? He's going to sack the Dragon Ball and get another token. And then he's going to use this fist to just deal a damage to Cell, because we need to start dealing damage to him. All right. All right, Trunks' turn. Trunks got a bunch of fists and 2 assists. All right, so actually we're gonna take those 2 assists and we're gonna buy something. We're gonna buy the Super Kamehameha, which will allow him to use 2 super attacks to deal 8 damage. Then we're going to take the 2 fists, and we're going to, oh, wait, that should be there. Those 2 fists are going to block the Kamehameha, and then he's going to deal fist to punch Cell for another point of damage, and then an additional point for completing that row. Okay, Krillin. Oops, I always forget to fill those out. Krillin, on his turn, he's going to buy the Destructo Disc, because that's his ability. He's going to use the Destructo Disc, which allows him to use Dragon Ball results to just deal 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. And he will block this. He will also spend an assist to buy Masenko at discount of 1 and give it to Piccolo. And then he will attack Cell for 1. Whoops, that was a fist. Okay, so the Kamehameha has been thwarted, the Death Saucer has been thwarted, and the Ki Blast Cannon has been thwarted. And everybody has done a little bit of damage. Okay. Mimicry and another Destructo Disc. Okay, next round. Telekinesis. Everybody takes another point of damage. This cell starts throwing around rocks. Regenerate and regenerate. He has the potential to deal or heal up to 6 damage. And this deck is getting mighty thin. So we're going to have to really start doing some damage to him. Okay. So we are going to sack, Piccolo's going to sack that to block that regenerate and his assist. He's going to change that into a Dragon Ball result. And then he's just going to start dealing damage. So he's going to use his 2 fists to to use a Masenko, which will deal 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. But it also completes the first row, so it deals an additional 1. He's then going to use his fist icon that he got from the Dragon Radar to drop a result in the other heal, and then he's going to do 2 special attacks, which is going to deal an additional 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Trunks. Okay. Trunks is going to use his Dragon Ball result to re-roll these 3 fists. And that's actually going to be very good for him. Because it gives him a bunch of assists, and the assists can be used as special attacks, which means he's going to do Super Kamehameha twice. So 1, 2, that's going to deal 8 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But he completed the extra row, which gives him an additional 2. 1, 2. And then he's going to do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then an additional 2. 1, 2, because of the extra damage. So now it's going to be up to Krillin to try and complete that other heal, which shouldn't be too hard. Krillin doesn't have a So we'll go ahead and throw these 2 assists on regenerate. Actually, we won't even do that. We'll throw the assist on this other fist there, and this attack on there. And then we'll use the Dragon Ball to activate Destructo Disc to deal 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that means that this has been taken care of, but this is gone. Regenerate has been taken care of, that is gone. And then telekinesis has been taken care of. Okay, next up. Eye lasers, more damage. Okay, Piccolo is down to half. Trunks is almost down to half, and Krillin is down to half. Solar Flare, immune to bonus damage, and Explosive Wave. It's a good thing that didn't come out first. But we've only got 2 more rounds, and we still have 28 damage to do. So this is pretty much it. So I think this is like the way to kind of make it more lethal. All right, we need to change some things for Piccolo. We're gonna change this to a fist. We're going to use this assist to heal one. We're going to use this Dragon Ball to get a token. Oh no, we're not. Damn it. We're going to throw this Dragon Ball on eye lasers. We're going to put this on Explosive Wave. And then we're going to Masenko him for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We won't get the bonus damage because he's immune to it. All right. Super Saiyan Trunks. What do you got for us? Okay. Okay, we're going to use one of these assists to block. No, we're going to keep that assist. We need it though. We need to get rid of Explosive Wave. Now we're gonna hope Krillin gets that. We're gonna use these 2 Dragon Balls to get 2 tokens. 1, 2. All right. We're gonna throw this fist on Solar Flare. We're going to throw this assist on Explosive Wave. And we're going to throw this dragon, the Shenlong result there. Then we're going to use this assist as a super attack. And this other super attack here as a super Kamehameha for 8 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that is Trunks' turn. Krillin. All right, Krillin, what do you got for me? We're going to use 1 assist to get a Masenko because he needs to be able to increase his damage game. So one of those assists is Toast. We're going to throw the other assist here. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to throw it over to Piccolo, so Piccolo can roll it on his turn. And then we're going to throw this other fist on Solar Flare. And then we're going to do a Masenko for 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. Explosive Wave was averted. Immune to damage was done. 1 damage is done. Okay. Oh. All this stuff. I was like, wait a minute. There's some dice missing. All right. Next up. Cell heals 3. 1, 2, 3. He's going to do a Destructo Disc and an energy field. And it doesn't matter, he's going to win next turn. unless I can kill him this turn. I have to do 15 damage, which is possible if Trunks rolls really good. Oops, that was a dragon. That was a Dragon Ball result. All right, so we had Dragon Ball, 2 punches, 2 assists, and a super. I think we're going to take the Dragon Ball and we're going to try and get a token. We're going to take the assists and pass them over to Trunks. And we're just going to lay into Cell with the attack. We're going to blitz him. So 1, that's 4 with the Masenko. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the additional 1. And then just a regular old attack for 1 more. And then a super attack for 2. 1, 2. All right, now Trunks for pickup. And that's the game. Because Trunks can use these assists as supers. He's going to go ahead and launch a Super Kamehameha for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, plus an additional 2 for completing the row. All right, so that brought it down to the end. Now, was it harder? I would say it made it, I wouldn't say it made it harder, but it definitely pushed it to where the decisions were more impactful. Changing the way the Dragon Ball dice worked made it so that you had a different choice with them. Couple different choices. First of all, the resource for them was more limited. I only had 2 more tokens left. So using those was less of an option. If I had exhausted them, then the only thing that they were going to be good for was rerolls. And in fact, I might even consider limiting them even more. You can only reroll 1 dice. It did take me down to 1 turn, and the characters were half dead. And now Cell was able to heal a couple times, which dragged things out a little bit. If some of his higher damage cards had come out, things might have played out a little bit differently. I might have had to have paid more attention to the healing aspect myself, using assists to heal rather than to pass them on. I think, like I said, I still think that there is potential good game mechanics in here, but where they are is still hard to determine. maybe having, maybe ignoring the passives is a bad idea. You know, going through, when you're dealing out his threats, going to the first one that he can actually activate. So like on the first turn, if he draws a heal one, just saying, okay, he can't do that, so we go to the next one. Okay, that one deals damage, we can do that one, so deal damage. And if they're all ones that he can't do, then saying, okay, then it's a free round. But if the first card is a heal one and you can't do it, okay. And then the second one is one that he deals damage, then you deal damage. But if the first one is a heal one, you can't do it. If the second one is a heal one and you can't do it, okay. And then the third one is a passive one, and then, okay, you can't do any of those, then saying, okay, then that's a free round. And in fact, you know what? Another cool thing might be, well, I don't know. Maybe this to prevent players from just blitzing him on like the last turn or whatever. Maybe saying, okay, so Cell gets a last stand turn. And then if you have done enough damage to kill him and he you can survive his last threat cards, you can survive till the end of the round, then you win. So like right now, you go, okay, well, we didn't devote any of our dice to this. So like Trunks has this many dice, these dice left, let's say. So let's say, okay, let's say that rule was in effect. Okay, so we need to get rid of these. So let's go ahead and get rid of regenerate, because we don't want him popping back up, because that's something he did in the show. You know, he came back after, what was it, Goku blew him up. So let's go ahead and so that it was only after Gohan in Super Saiyan 2 was able to completely obliterate him that things were okay. Okay, so now we do this. We got rid of regenerate, and this is kind of pointless. Power cards can't be regenerated. I don't think these were the ones that were out, but whatever. So deal 3 damage. Piccolo is still alive. Trunks is still alive, but Krillin dies. Okay, that's fine. So everybody's still alive, or not everybody, but Krillin's dead, but Cell is still at 0. Okay, cool. So now the game is officially won. I think that could be a good way to kind of set it up too. So not only do you have to bring him down to 0, you have to survive the round. That way players don't just, okay, we're on the last round. If we just blitz him with 3 super Kamehamehas, we can win if he's got like a ton of damage cards out. No, we have to be careful because we'll have to devote some of our dice and tokens and stuff to prevent us from getting blasted by Cell's super Kamehameha. Because if we can deal like all the damage we need, but if he kills us because we didn't devote enough our dice to the super Kamehameha or to block his Kamehameha, we're gonna die anyway. So I think that's an interesting thing to kind of put into the game too. So that's something to kind of consider. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on this. And I think that y'all should have a good night. And I will talk to y'all